Nobody's home. These politicians, what are they in office for? They're all totally useless. Both Republicans and Democrats are useless. I kept on asking and writing to the President George W. Bush, demanding a public inquiry on Edward Harris, who works for the U.S. Immigration, who sent me an email. You can't get any better than that. That's a confession letter. Who said, I will play with your files and so will my boys, and we will kick you out of the country, you and your wife, and we will use you as our new sexual plaything. New sexual plaything? Obviously, Edward Harris is a pervert working for the government. We don't know if this order came from Florida. We don't know who started and who initiated for us to be kicked out of the United States illegally. There's a crime being committed. The FBI says it's not their jurisdiction. We wrote letters to Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice. No response. Nobody's home. We wrote letters to Homeland Security. Secretary Michael Chertoff. Nobody's home. We wrote letters to Alberto Gonzales. He just resigned, former Attorney General Alberto Gonzales. He writes back to us telling us it's not his jurisdiction. Well, who in the hell jurisdiction is it? Wake up, people. We're being falsely deported. I was going to stick this whole documentation and this whole video on YouTube, but unfortunately, the files are just too big. So if everybody wants to see what actually happened and the entire history, and listen to the entire video, go to AnnetteMartini.us. That's ANNETTEMARTINI.us. Go there. Call up your congressman, call up your senator, call up the White House, call up somebody and say, there's a crime being committed against these two people that are suffering here in the United States. We're not the only ones. We're not the only legal people suffering here in the USA. There's a lot of people living in cardboard boxes waiting for the U.S. immigration. Instead, the U.S. immigration, like Michael Chertoff, has no clue what to do. It's time Secretary Michael Chertoff resigns. It's time that there's a big investigation against Alberto Gonzales, who obstructed justice. Did Alberto Gonzales call up Judge Ferguson, Thomas, and Rollickson from the Ninth Circuit Court and told them to throw it out because he does not want to respond to this thick file? Nobody has responded. No government agency here in the United States has responded to this thick file. It's called Motion to Terminate False Removal Proceedings. Nobody has responded. Nobody. They had 10 days to respond. Did they respond? No. Instead, these panel of three judges, so-called, they claimed that they heard the application. I wasn't in San Francisco. Where is my rights to be sit down and heard by a decent, honest judge that's going to give me true justice here in the United States? Every single judge I've dealt with here in the United States indicated it's not their jurisdiction. When we sued VeriSign, the court said it's not their jurisdiction. The federal court said it was not their jurisdiction to hear the matter when we filed a lawsuit against VeriSign. When we filed a lawsuit against the state of Florida, everybody says it's not their jurisdiction. Even in Florida. There's corruption, and this corruption has to stop. And if the government thinks that we are going away, we are not going away from the United States. I came here and I fought for freedom for all my life. And if anyone thinks that they're going to kick me out, they have another thing coming. And that's why these videos are being recorded. That's why I'm coming out. I'm going to show the whole world what Canada's really all about. All these tapes are going live. A whole box of tapes is going live pretty soon. I want my wife to sit down in front of this camera and read, because I have a hard time looking at documentations because I have 2 brain tumors. I can dictate to my wife. I always dictated to my wife and she wrote this. This is a motion to terminate false removal proceedings. The charge was that the POE is unknown. I paid $450 to get a piece of paper like this from these 3 judges in the case of, from these 3 judges in the Ninth Circuit Court. $450 I had to borrow. Where's my justice? Smarten up. Give me justice. Give me 1 day with an attorney that I have the constitutional rights to have an attorney represent me. According to the federal law, if there's a charge against me or someone else, you have a right to have an attorney representing you. And if you can't afford one, then an attorney will be provided. Where is my damn attorney? Where's the ACLU going after the Ninth Circuit Court? Now I just finished getting off the phone today, and we'll be filing this motion again, filing an appeal against the Ninth Circuit Court, the LA courts, and the U.S. immigration courts. Now we're going all the way to the Supreme Court. This should have been taking years. Everybody's throwing it so fast out of the court, saying it's not their jurisdiction. We're not even supposed to be in court, and it's nobody's jurisdiction, including the DOJ, who wrote to us, Department of Justice in Washington, D.C., Alberto Gonzalez, who said it's not his jurisdiction. Then why the heck are you in office for? Get out. Goodbye. I am demanding a public inquiry from all the congressmen and senators, including congressmen and senators who wrote to us saying it's not their jurisdiction. I am demanding justice here in the United States. I want Edward Harris and his boys, who threatened me that they were going to play their files and they're doing a good job, to be arrested and charged. But according to the FBI, it's not their jurisdiction. According to Homeland Security, it's not their jurisdiction. According to ICE, it's nobody's jurisdiction. So why are you guys harassing me? If you think we're going to go away voluntarily, we're not. And the more you push me, the more I'm going to sue. Now, I've been holding off a lawsuit against the U.S. government and public figures for a long time. And now it's time. I'm going to be suing every single politician personally who did not help us. Every single politician that's wrote to me and said it's not their jurisdiction, I'm going to sue them. I'm going to sue the Ninth Circuit Court for stealing my $450. I'm going to sue the U.S. Immigration Court for hiring Judge William Martin Jr. Judge William Joseph Martin Jr. The judges should be totally disrobed. These judges should not be in office. I want everybody to go to netmartini.us and see the whole entire tape and see what's going on. I want this bull to stop. I want justice. I want to stay in the United States. But you're not going to kick me out. God damn it, you're not going to kick me out. The only way you're going to take me out of here is in a body bag. And that's the way I stand. I came in the right way, the honest way, and for that I suffered. And if you think if the U.S. government dares to think that they're going to ship me back to a country that's no longer mine, that's going to execute me within 24 hours, I don't think so. I don't think so. Because I will fight. I will fight to stay in here. And I will sue anyone who tries to interfere in myself and my wife trying to get our freedom. I have to hold somebody accountable and someone liable for leaving us stateless for 5 years. Michael Chertoff, Secretary Michael Chertoff from Homeland Security should step down. He's totally useless. He's useless. These judges should be disrobed. Go to netmartini.us and get the whole entire story. Thank you.